Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe.
And you are here for the 4th Annual Golden Headz Awards of 2022.
Yay.
That's right.
And this episode, we'll be giving away some great awards, such as our Game of the Year, Best Pokemon Game, Least Content on Launch Award, and so much more. How's everyone doing?
Good. Yeah. It's I'm excited for this. We've got like regular awards too. On top of that, just like some of our favorite games of the year. We'll be talking about all of those and going over that stuff. I'm home in Dallas Fort Worth right now, recording this episode, and we're recording earlier in the day, and it's like Christmas time. So if this episode's a little out of whack rhythm wise, that's what's going on. At least for me. But how are you guys? How was y'all's Christmas? You guys have a good holiday?
It's been very chill, very relaxing. It's a mixed bag of emotions, as comes with most family-focused, centered holidays. So, I'm pretty, in a somber mood mostly. Been eating a lot of snacks, so my stomach is feeling great.
Yeah. What about you, Patrick? You getting fatter?
Oh yeah, I way overate for sure. That is definitely true. We have like both my family, my wife's family in town, so it's like we had a big breakfast, then we went for a giant lunch, and then went to somebody else's for a big dinner, and it was too much. I had an okay Christmas. I'm always in recent years a little bit freaked out by the rabid consumerism of it, but if that upsets me. But
we're full Jingle All the Way in my family. We want to get the hot toys.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
Yeah, but anyway, it was fine. I've also been just busy, so it's been a little harder than relaxing.
Very good. Well, it sounds like you just had a very Merry Christmas, Patrick. I'm glad to hear it.
Very merry.
How was y'all's Christmas, chat?
Yeah, let us know. But with Discord or the YouTube comments, or yell at your car stereo, whatever works.
Yeah, we'll hear it. We have a mic in all of your cars, and we listen to everything you say. So,
if you do let us know what, we'll try to shout you out. A few quick shout outs from our last episode, which was on Metal Gear Solid. There's way too many people to shout out in the Discord, but I'm going to try a few of them anyway. Jay, Cena, Carusetta, Lee. There was a big, long discussion about all the Metal Gear games.
Yeah, it was cool. Like Carusetta and Joe were kind of having a history teacher pissing contest in the Discord chat. It was very entertaining to watch.
Over on Instagram, our friend Frankie Nets said Metal Gear? And
No. It's Metal Gear.
And then over on YouTube, Hans Gauger, I think I did it, said there should totally be a Switch Headz Nintendo theme park review episode. So not only do we need to go, we gotta take a notepad.
I agree. I would love any excuse. I think we could write it off on our taxes if we do it for the podcast, right?
We've had this discussion before, David, that you also still have to make money at some point, right? Like we can't just
we'll just pay ourselves and then deduct it. And then, that's how it works. Is that tax fraud? I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm a lawyer, so no.
We love to hear from our listeners and viewers. So definitely send us a note if you, have any thoughts on these awards we're giving out, or what your game of the year was and that sort of thing. Also, we appreciate it if you share the podcast somewhere online or leave us a review, and remember to like and subscribe on the YouTube.
Yes, please.
And we are doing a full episode this week, so we're going to talk news and rumors, but it's been a quiet news week for gaming and Nintendo in particular, but we're going to do it. So first up, at the at the end of the year, the last several years, there's been an Indie World presentation. and it usually tied in right around at the same time as the Game Awards, but they didn't do it this year. And they instead did this sort of parceled out inside the House of Indies holiday event, kind of leaning into like an advent calendar-esque thing in the last like 5 days of before Christmas, where Nintendo put out these shorter videos featuring like about 4 or 5 games each over the course of those 5 days. So I don't know if y'all had a chance to scan that info or watch every video or what y'all thought about it.
Yeah, I didn't watch every video, but I did grab the Punch Win, I believe it's called. It's like Shinen's new game. Shinen, if you're not familiar, they're the developers that made Fast RMX on the Switch, which was a F-Zero style like launch game for the Switch. I think it was a Wii U game originally. And they also did The Tourist, which is an excellent kind of top-down puzzler. This is kind of like a falling block puzzle game. It kind of reminds me of like Yoshi's Cookie, I think, or like one of those games where they're falling blocks, but then you're also playing a little platformer guy, like as the blocks are falling. And it's really fun. And what I love about Shinen is they do all different kinds of games and all different kinds of styles. So I always try to support them when they have stuff come out. And then Sports Story, right?
Yeah, Sports Story was a big one.
And do you guys grab Sports Story?
Not yet. I am interested to play it. I really enjoyed Golf Story, so I imagine it looks like a lot more of the same, a lot more being the emphasis there. Yeah, I don't know. There's some other okay looking games here as well. I don't know, Floppy Nights or whatever it's called. I don't know. They showed Sea of Stars. That game looks amazing.
Yeah, that's like a kind of like a Chrono Trigger spiritual successors. Looks like what it's trying to be.
And then there's that Dust and Neon game that looked kind of interesting. Sort of like a robot cowboy game. I don't know. Handful of other interesting looking games I saw some people share about, but I don't know if I like that methodology. It felt like less of a thing. You know what I mean? Like
you kind of just wish this was just an indie world.
Yeah. I think it would have had yeah. It was harder to follow. Like you said, David, I didn't watch all of them. I missed a day or two. Just reading a recap now, I'm like, oh, I didn't even see a few of these games. And then also it just felt like all of the games got a little bit less attention because of that, maybe. Like people were like, Sports Story dropped, and not like there was a presentation and Sports Story dropped. You know what I mean? Like that's how I found out about that, or was reminded of it the last day. Anyway, so interesting idea.
At least they're giving attention to the indies. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like not everybody's doing that, and Nintendo at the very least like knows that indies are kind of the lifeblood of their system, past the big AAA first party Nintendo games.
Did the Indie World sale start on like day one of this, like 12/19?
Yeah, it definitely coincided. I don't know if it was day one or day 5 or.
So it's just a way to like promote indies, but also to promote the sale.
Right.
I think so.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's kind of like their Christmas sale this year. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then this was interesting. We've talked about Nintendo Minute before. It was a Nintendo like YouTube show where Kit and Krista hosted, and they did a bunch of wacky things. But apparently Nintendo has been making all of the Nintendo Minute videos private on YouTube. So like 400 episodes, 8 years gone.
Oh, all of them? All of them are private?
I think so. Like, or that's what they're doing. They've been setting them to private. So I don't know. That's what I've been hearing. It was a sort of in progress thing that I've heard about it. Like they're being set to private. So
do you think this is like Nintendo's like not happy with them like dishing about their time at Nintendo?
Yeah.
Or do you think this is just like they just don't want like old promotional stuff?
They definitely. So like to point out what David's hinting at, they have their own sort of independent show where they kind of talk about behind the scenes stuff, probably whatever they can still talk about. Yeah, that might be true. I mean, it is old, but I mean, I think every once in a while you'll find something random and old from them. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really my cup of tea anyway. Those videos it's made for a younger audience to begin with. So,
and then we got a little Splatoon 3 news to go over. So Splatoon 3, the next Splatfest was announced. It's happening early next year, which felt far away at one point, but no longer does. When is that? Like, I don't have the actual dates in front of me. I should have.
Sometime in January.
Yeah, sometime early January.
Yeah.
But I guess we should say that one thing that they also announced is that the tricolor battle, which has been kind of a flop sort of thing in the last couple of Splatfests, apparently now they're going to make it so it'll start at the halftime again, but this time if you select that mode, that's what you're getting. You're always going to match into a tricolor battle, which it's the way it probably should have been. Maybe that means you'll have to wait longer sometimes. I don't know,
Yeah,
depending on your team and all that.
Can't you also pick if you're defending or attacking, or maybe it's just like every team can defend or attack? I think they just like opened it up to everyone.
Oh, did they?
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how I understand it. Yeah.
I think also that makes a lot more sense. Because it seemed to just punish whoever's in first.
Right.
And this seems better. I didn't notice that detail, but I see it now that you're saying it. Now players won't know whether you're on the attacking or defending team. That feels like a better way to play it as it is currently set up.
Totally. It kind of defeats the purpose of having like a halftime now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think ultimately this is going to be more fun for everybody, even if it's not quite as they initially intended it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously what they initially thought didn't work.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's a fun mode. But this is good, right? I think it's good that they're like owning up to mistakes in like game design. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, well, we tried and people didn't like it, and we crunched the numbers and realized this was kind of fucked. And so now we're just kind of like making this fun mode more readily available. I think that's great.
Changing maybe the way the scoring for it goes too. Like the Splatfest winner, there's a new metric because of this, right? That's tricolor cloud. So that is probably a good way to balance it too, right? So that's cool. And then I guess we're just rounding out the news with something that's been kind of ongoing, but there's Mario movie toys, right, that have been leaking what they look like in different regions and stuff, right, David? I don't know a lot about this. I know they're like little cardboard things. Is that right?
Oh, no, they're just Mario toys at McDonald's now.
Oh, they're already out. Are they the cardboard ones that had been talked about in other places, or are they different? I couldn't find the...
No, I think they're like full-on toys. Like I know there's at least one of like Mario popping out of a pipe. And,
okay, that's better. I saw some like cardboard ones that were... Maybe those are in other regions.
Yeah, maybe. But I just know, at least at some McDonald's, the Mario movie toys are coming out, or are out now. So that's cool. I mean, it's just, for me, what's interesting about this is like just how early the marketing push is for this movie that comes out in April. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like usually when McDonald's toys show up for a movie, it's like, get your butts in the seats, kids, and here's like some stuff, you know what I mean? But this is like, they're really pushing this thing with the Game Awards and 2 trailers already. And, we'd heard so little about this movie for so long. And now I feel like the big marketing push is happening now, and the movie is still not, for like another, fucking
4 months.
Yeah. 120 days. Like, so it's like, it's just pretty crazy. If I were a kid, the wait would be excruciating for this movie.
It kind of is. Yeah. My son has definitely been like, when does it come out? I'll be like, April. He's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want it now.
Yeah. Well, I did see Avatar 2: The Way of Water for a second time, so you can always do that while you wait.
That's why I have hard stop before. I'm gonna go see Avatar: Way of Water.
Oh, truly?
Yeah.
Nice. 3D?
3D, yeah, 3D IMAX.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, let's make this an Avatar podcast real quick.
Fuck these awards.
I went with my parents, and I read that Dolby cinemas are the best way to watch it. right? Like it's like it most like best represents the creative vision of James Cameron or whatever. And so we booked one at the Dolby Theater, and I assumed because it's meant to be like the best way to watch it, it would be in 3D. It was not, which was really unfortunate. It was also not the like expanded. It was like cropped to like a widescreen like it is in regular theaters. And I thought it would be like the expanded like IMAX screen, which this Dolby screen just had black bars on the top and bottom. So it was like able to do it. It just didn't do it. So that was really frustrating. And lastly, the whole right side of the screen was like out of focus. I think like the projector lens was like fucked up or something in this theater. What? So it was overall a pretty disappointing experience. Thankfully I'd seen the movie already, and my family still enjoyed it anyway. They thought it was great. But like it did have the high frame rate though. It like flipped back and forth between 24 and 48 frames a second and was very strange. But Patrick, you've got to go see Avatar 2: The Way of Water.
Right after I watch Breaking Bad, I will do it.
Patrick, you're like Mr. Environment. You're like Mr. Environment. You would love this movie.
Yeah,
Please call him Environment. Mr. Environment is his father.
I am Mr.
You're Enviro Daddy. All right. Well, you guys could tell we have not a lot of news.
Yeah, we can close this out, right?
We're filling up the news with Avatar 2.
What just happened? All right. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do the Golden Headz for the year 2022, our awards.
Nailed it.
All right, so this week we are giving away the awards that we call the Golden Headz. This is our end of the year wrap up. We've done this this will be our fourth annual Golden Headz show. So what we tend to do on these is we go around and we give a pick for best in a bunch of different categories, and we also have some fun group awards that we decided ahead of time, which we'll be announcing. We kind of alternate between those. I think I made sense of that.
Yeah, it's like that. We've got our regular awards that are kind of serious awards, and then our Golden Headz awards, which are kind of bit awards, but also we feel deeply in our heart.
So we're going to start off with a Golden Headz award. We're calling this one Best Leak, but I think it's also arguably Worst Leak or Most Heinous.
How about Most Leak?
most leaky leak. So we've got some good ones here. There are a lot of interesting leaks that happened this year. We have the Bayonetta voice acting pay rate leak situation. We've got the Grand Theft Auto 6 hack/leak. The NVIDIA leak, which is old but has continued to prove true. The Duke Nukem Forever leak. And then the leaks, if we want to call them that, surrounding the working conditions at Nintendo with the filings and what have you, and talking to journalists about that, the QA tester and such. So we know the right answer here, of course, is the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak, because obviously that game's going to be terrible because the graphics are bad.
Yeah, that's true.
It was very useful to have that leak. So
now you can just avoid the game. It's going to bomb
due to the leaked graphics.
Yeah. This could also be called a Golden Schreier Award, I believe, for most leak.
There you go.
Very good. Congratulations, Grand Theft Auto 6.
You did it.
And the British kid who stole all that information.
the hacker that's going to prison. So first up on the regular awards, I need a better name for that. We're starting out strong here with our best Nintendo first party or Nintendo exclusive game. So there's some big ones that came out this year. I'm curious to hear y'all's answer. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. For me, the best first party Nintendo game, and I feel like one of you is also going to agree with this one, but and it might be a little controversial to some, but Splatoon 3, man. I mean, I can't think of another game released by Nintendo that I've so consistently put time into this year, and has continued to hold my interest throughout the entirety of its time. I think it's been absolutely the most fun to play with friends or just by myself. And yeah, man, I know it's just like, it's not like a big, huge upheaval of the franchise, but they did so much right, and it feels so good to play that I got to give it to Splatoon 3 for my Nintendo first party game of the year.
Well, I'm gonna just jump in because you're right. I am the person that's also picking Splatoon 3.
That was an easy guess.
It's an easy guess. I meant to say this before we started giving out awards that I didn't play a lot of games this year, so I'm sorry.
You didn't play many games other than Splatoon 3 this year, Patrick?
I don't think
Splatoon
regular listeners of the show
right,
are completely shocked.
Before Splatoon, I was playing a lot of Smash, and then now I'm playing a lot of Splatoon, so forgive me if my awards are begin to be repetitive.
It's all Splatoon.
Patrick is like nominally a gamer.
Best leak, Splatoon 3.
The way the ink leaks out the tip of the... I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But anyway, please, anything else you'd like to say about Splatoon 3,
No,
Patrick?
you covered it. I think it's pretty obvious that, like, for me, it's held my attention, and it's really the only game I've played since September with any degree of seriousness.
Very good. What about you, Matt?
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh. Wow.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I have not put a lot of time into Splatoon 3. I loved it. I thought it was good. But Pokemon Legends Arceus kind of reinvigorated my love for Pokemon. I spent a lot of time on that, and I'm using pure raw data from my review from my Nintendo. It's the game that I played the most in 2022 on my Switch.
Really?
Wow.
More than Xenoblade?
Yep. More than Xenoblade.
That's insane. I definitely thought you might have gone with Kirby on this one.
I thought you might go with Xenoblade.
Yep.
Nope. Yep. Nope.
Well,
incredible. Right. You continue to confuse and befuddle me, Matt, in all the best ways.
Get your hands of fate off of me. I've been playing God of War.
All right. Well, when's the Pokemon Legends Arceus spoiler episode then?
Next week.
All right. Very good. Well, I'll take us into our next Golden Headz Award. We've got a great one here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Headz Award for Least Content on Launch is what's up next. And for this award, the nominees are Nintendo Switch Sports, Splatoon 3, Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, we're just going to call it the NSO Trickle. The not as many games as we would want on Nintendo Switch Online, or Mario Strikers Battle League. Those are your nominees for the Least Content on Launch Award. And the Golden Head goes to Mario Strikers Battle League. Just a shell of a game that no one really enjoyed and no one is talking about anymore.
I enjoyed it, but as soon as Splatoon came out, I jumped ship. What a great core game that's missing some modes that could get people into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it required time and attention to absorb all the things you can do in that game.
Sure.
And it's hard to do that without something that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I just think it's a game that is too complicated to give someone to pick up and play.
Mm-hmm.
And not enough content for people who put the time in to master it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of for nobody.
And then it also has that bummer of a situation where, like, it's really best played with other people, and if nobody's playing it, then you don't want to play it. And that's kind of what happened to me.
Well, here's to hoping Luigi's Mansion 4 is coming from Next Level Games.
Here's to hoping that this game shows Nintendo that maybe they shouldn't do this strategy.
Yeah, let's get some content on launch, guys.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, the next award that we're all going to individually pick is the best indie game. So I'm going to just go first and say this is probably cheating because I know typically we like to say games that came out on
Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3. Technically an indie game.
What?
The most supported indie game ever. No, this game did not come out on Nintendo, and I know we tried to do that, but I don't think I played very many new indies. So I'm picking Stray here because that was my favorite indie game of the year.
Very good. No, I think that's fine. I think we can. I don't think all our awards have to be Nintendo.
Good. I know we've tried to do that in the past, but I think that's helpful to me.
Yeah. Well, now that I have a Steam Deck, I care much less.
You're in favor of that.
Yeah. So, anything you want to say about Stray?
Oh, I think we'll talk about it more later because I didn't play enough games. But no, I mean we can talk about it now. I think great length of a game, visually amazing. I think, I was worried when I was about, a third of the way through it that the gameplay was going to become repetitive, but they had some different gameplay mix-ups and it didn't wear out its welcome and it was satisfying.
Very good.
For me, indie game of the year would be Tunic.
Nice.
Tunic was a surprise hit. The art direction is really fun. The silent protagonist, all the puzzles and meta puzzles.
Yeah.
So fun and challenging too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a game I started and need to pick back up for sure. But I really enjoyed what I played so far. I know that topped a lot of people's game of the year lists as well. But, for me, my indie game of the year has got to be Neon White. Neon White was such a breath of fresh air. A game like which I've never really played before. In all ways, from the music to the visual design to the gameplay, and the kind of blend of first-person speed running, platforming, card elements, shooting. It kind of had this wonderful hodgepodge of genres that made it feel so fresh, and visual novel elements as well. It was just a really, really great game with a cool story, and and that was definitely, I think, one of the freshest experiences of the year. I do want to give a runner-up to Lunistis as well. That would be my. It was hard to go between the two of those, but that would be my secondary indie game of the year. I might have some runner-ups for some of these, by the way, but I'll try not to spend too much time on those. But yeah, Neon White, play it if you haven't yet. It's fucking incredible.
Going back to the Golden Headz, the next category is Best Acquisition, also known as Best Worst Acquisition. And the nominees for Best Acquisition are Take-Two buying Zynga, Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, Sony buying Bungie, Embracer Group buying everything, and the New York Times buying Wordle. And the winner of Best Acquisition is Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, it's just in terms of numbers alone, right?
And drama that it is brought out.
Do you think that there will be enough acquisitions next year for this to be a returning category?
Everything will have been acquired.
All right. Nintendo buys fucking Sony and Microsoft. Oh man,
I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not.
I can't wait for Valve to buy the New York Times.
So our next award is for Best Music in a Video Game, coming out in 2022.
And I'll go first. It's Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
There it is.
Come on. It's so good.
Very good.
The soundtrack's great. All of Xenoblade Chronicles music is incredible. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 music, out of this world. One of the best soundtracks.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I do have a different answer.
What's your answer?
It's wrong. It's wrong, but go ahead.
That's right. Well, that's what's great about this subjective medium. For me, this is a bit of repetition here, but I think the best soundtrack of the year has to go to Neon White. Machine Girl did that entire soundtrack. If you're not familiar with Machine Girl, just whacked out fucking techno, crazy, like almost jungle beats in that soundtrack. Incredible stuff from start to finish. I've listened to that soundtrack on its own so many times. It always gets me hyped up. And it's long too. On Spotify, I think there's like there's like a volume 1 and volume 2 of the soundtrack, and every single one of those songs are absolute bangers. So if you haven't listened to that yet, listen to that. Also play that game. Real quick runner-ups for me. I know this doesn't exactly count, but it did come out on Switch this year. So Persona 5 Royal has an incredible soundtrack, one of the best of all time. And then I want to give a shout out as well to Donut Dodo, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and the Klonoa remasters had some amazing soundtracks as well.
So there are some categories here I struggled with. This is one of them. I think I did not play enough games that had good music. I didn't play a lot of the games y'all just mentioned, but I tried to think of something that I actually like sat in the overworld and listened to music on, and that was the Kirby and the Forgotten Land game.
Hell yeah.
I remember spending a little bit of time just jamming to that music, so I'm going to give it to that.
Oh yeah.
I have a few bad picks here. That's the first of
No, Kirby and the Forgotten Land had some incredible music. I actually kind of forgot how good the soundtrack was to that game. Like in the Snow World.
Yeah, that's the one.
Snow World. So
yeah.
good.
Yeah. The soundtrack, like towards some of the end bosses too, the music went really, really hard. And I love that Kirby has followed suit in Nintendo's newest trend of opening songs with lyrics in them.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if
where
they're in a
the
different
English
language.
version display on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff all around.
Yeah. So next up we have the category for the Golden Headz of best Pokemon game. And in particular, I think this is best console Pokemon game. Because, there was probably lots of other mobile ones, but there were also lots of console Pokemon games this year.
Yeah. Really two, but yes.
Yeah, two mainline ones. But we're splitting it up into, say, the nominees for best Pokemon game are Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. And the winner goes to the one that people don't know how to pronounce, including me. Pokemon Legends Arceus?
It's
whatever
Arceus.
way
It's
you
officially
want to say it.
Nintendo changed the name from Arceus to Arceus.
It's hard.
Because Arce made little British children laugh too much.
Right.
Yeah.
So Arceus wins best Pokemon game.
Is this controversial?
I think that maybe it is a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that everybody agrees that the core gameplay was better. Even if
it had a better loop, right? It had it just fit, the game feel was better in Arceus. Yeah. I think there's a lot of ways that Scarlet and Violet improved on some of the ideas, namely just the world being bigger. But I think sometimes, you don't have to fix what ain't broke. I hope that they make more in this series or take more from this for whatever the next mainline game is.
Well, next up, we have our individual picks for the best visual design. This is another one I really struggled with. But somebody else go. So there's.
Do you not have a?
I have a pick, award? But I don't like it.
Is it Splatoon 3?
No, that would be cheating.
I'll go first on this one. For me, the best visual design of the year goes to Live Alive. I loved how that game looked. I was constantly taking screenshots in Live Alive. In fact, I think my SD card ran out of space because I was taking so many screenshots and videos of Live Alive. And just for me, just to look at later, just so I can remember my time in the game. This is not obviously the first HD 2D game. There's been a lot of them and there are going to be more to come. But I think this is the one that nailed the aesthetic way better than any of the other games. Didn't kind of all seem like monocolor or sepia toned, which I feel like was a problem with Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. And this one just really popped and had just a lovely aesthetic. Runner up, I'd probably give to Stray, which I thought was also incredible. But I think Live Alive to me takes the award.
My pick for this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Yeah. Just the design, the aesthetic from going to the map, to the game, to the player select, it all feels really cohesive. The animations for all the characters and turtles and kind of the pseudo cutscenes. I think the map design is so fun to me. It's the blending of a Super Mario 3 overworld, but that feels so alive, and it's so... it just feels true to the Ninja Turtles cartoon.
I love the chibi turtles by the health bars at the top.
That's so cute.
Yeah, really, really cute. Great pick.
You've made me want to change my pick to Stray based on you saying that, because now that I think about it, man, that game looked great.
Yeah.
I think and they did a really great job of interactable visual elements, and like I definitely spent time like reading posters on the wall in that game, and also the way, this is all borderline spoiler, but the way the visual elements change as the game goes on and you progress in different areas.
Kind of like that last section of, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm just talking about like, again, it's kind of borderline spoilers, but like the way each area looks different, it really is impactful visually. But I was thinking about saying Mario Strikers Battle League just because I really liked the visual sort of comic booky flashy stuff, and like when you're doing hyper strikes and all the fun animations and stuff like that game had. That was one of the strong things about that game. So
yeah,
last minute change to Stray though.
I think you're correct in doing that last second pivot to Stray. But Mario Strikers Battle League does have like amazing animations, right? Like that's what they're known for in next level games. Good picks. Okay. I have our next Golden Headz Award. I know everybody's really excited. This is the most exciting part of the show. The category for this is the edgiest legacy Japanese developer on social media award.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a way to make that not that length of title.
I like it.
Most edgy Japanese developer on social media award. Most edgy Japanese developer on social media award.
Legacy Japanese developer.
It's the legacy. Edgy
Yeah.
legacy is the hard part.
Edgy legacy.
Basically,
legacy.
I feel like 2022 was an unprecedented time for legacy Japanese developers just like popping off on Twitter and doing weird shit in public. We've got a great list here for you. With his strange Spotify podcast, we have Hideo Kojima. With his YouTube channel, where he gets really snarky about his past on Nintendo, we've got Masahiro Sakurai. With his unhinged banning and blocking and tweets on the Bayonetta 3 situation, Hideki Kamiya. Going to fucking jail and dishing on Balan Wonderworld, we have Yuji Naka. And the always delightful and slightly absurd creator of Super Monkey Ball and the Yakuza series, Toshihiro Nagoshi, are our nominees for the Golden Headz Award for most edgy legacy Japanese developer on social media. And the award goes to, I mean, he's in fucking prison. It goes to Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog.
More than one controversial thing, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it takes to win this Golden Headz. More
to
than
be in
one
jail?
controversy. Yeah, or go to jail. Yeah. Or prison.
Yeah.
Prison also works too.
Let's say creator of Sonic, but really the creator of Christmas Nights, Yuji Naka.
One of the greatest pack-in games, or like games you get with a magazine.
Yeah. One of those rare Christmas games that we love to see. Anyway, so congratulations, Yuji Naka. I hope they let you have podcasts in Japanese prison.
Moving on back to our individual.
Because if they do, he's listening. Is what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're gonna give 3 picks here. This is sort of our best genre category. We've been doing this one for the last year or two. So we're each gonna give a pick for best multiplayer game, RPG, and platformer. I'll start with multiplayer. You know what it's gonna be. It's
what is
Splatoon
it? Tell
3.
us.
It's Splatoon 3. Really the best multiplayer game I've played in a while. That's why I'm so addicted. I like maybe my multiplayer games.
I'll follow up with that. It's also Splatoon 3 for me. This is the best this series has ever felt, and it won the actual game award for this category as well, which was much deserved.
And I will go off the beaten path and choose Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass Wave 3.
That's
nice. Wave 3 specifically.
Specific release of the DLC. I love
that. It is the
Wave
best
3
one
because it adds the item manipulation.
It's big.
Custom
It's
items.
big.
Item combinations.
Sorry, I don't mean to step on your toes. Yeah, that is a big update. You know, like it really reinvigorates the game. My son was playing with some of his friends over here, and they have it too, but they don't have the pack. And they're like, "Oh my gosh," you know. And they sat there for a while doing bullet bills only and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. It's funny. I was playing with my brother and sister while everybody was here for Christmas, and my brother's really good at this game, but he does not like items, apparently, and was just like, "Can we just play with just coins?" And we were like, "Are you fucking crazy?"
That's like somebody who's good at the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, if he had his druthers, he would just like always do the best line and never get hit by any items. And I was like, "Do you even like Mario Kart, Justin?"
It's like the Smash thing. This has now turned it into Smash, where now like people are like, no, I don't want to play with your all lightning bolts. Let's turn them off.
Yeah, well, I made it do all lightning bolts, and he got very mad.
Tis the season.
Tis the season to fuck with your brother.
All right. Well, our next genre is a role-playing game, RPG. So I know y'all played a lot more of these than me. I played hardly any RPGs this year. The only one I could think of even really was Triangle Strategy, which I didn't finish, but I did enjoy my time with, which was limited. But so I'm going to have to go with that one by default. Which is
our strategy games actually RPGs. We've had this discussion a million times.
It's got to count, David, or else I don't have an answer.
What about you, Matt?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah,
it's an easy pick. And runner-up be Live Alive.
Yeah, that Live Alive is my RPG of the year. Again, kind of like you, Patrick. I didn't play a ton of RPGs this year. Mainly because I spent so much fucking time playing the Metal Gear Solid series, but and I didn't finish Earthbound for JRPG Club, but I did finish Live Alive for JRPG Club.
Yeah, you did.
I really enjoyed that game, and I was very, very, very impressed, and it was a breath of fresh air. Runner up for me would be, again, a game I did not finish this year, but am currently in the middle of being Persona 5 Royal for the Nintendo Switch family of systems.
Nice. Well, and then our last genre is platformer. Why didn't somebody else lead this one off?
Kirby and the Forgotten Land for me. Just a joy to play. Super fun to pick up. You can pause it, pick it up immediately. The music's banger. It's challenging near the end game. Just a overall incredible platformer.
So seamlessly made that transition between 2D and 3D. I say that like it didn't take them 30 years to do it, but but it really felt like a 2D Kirby game, but in 3D. It was pretty impressive how they were able to do that.
Yeah, I also picked that one as well. Sort of similar reasons. I love platformers, but I can't think of a lot of new ones I played. I know despite David giving lots of recommendations, I didn't do a good job of following through. But yeah, I got to go with Kirby as well. David, you've got to have some sort of great pick for this, right?
I do, but again, it's awards I've given out before. It's actually a tie for me. But between, like I said, these are going to come up a lot. It's a tie between Neon White and Lunistus. I love both of those games so much. I played a shit ton of both of them, and they're both games that you really want to go back and 100%. You want to like actually go back and get all the S ranks or do the best time or get all the collectibles or anything like that. So any game that kind of makes me want to do that, that's definitely a big one for me. And I really, really enjoyed that time. And I played a lot of 2D platformers as well this year. I just find it interesting that all of our picks were 3D platformers for best platformer this year. I think this is just a great year for 3D platformers, all in all.
Nice. Well then, moving on to another Golden Headz.
Another Golden Headz. The category is Most Anticipated Adaptation. And the nominees are the Super Mario Brothers movie, Fallout, the TV show, Castlevania Nocturne, Last of Us TV show, and Twisted Metal. And the winner is Twisted. I'm just kidding. It's the Super Mario Brothers movie. We were just talking about it.
What the fuck?
Creepy clown,
Our boy Richter.
It's personal slight on this show.
Exactly. Yo, side note, we did directors of the show did release a designs for Maria Renard over the Christmas break. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. That tweet popped off. But yes, the Mario movie. I mean, come on. This is a Nintendo podcast.
It's the Mario movie too. Yeah. It's big and it looks okay.
It looks great.
It looks so fun. And I secretly hope that there are at least 1 or 2 songs. I know it was rumored that it was going to be a full-blown musical, but I really hope there's at least 1 song.
I think I've seen like a leak of where one of the songs might be, and it has me very excited. I will not reveal it on this podcast. But I'm excited if it's true.
It's Funky Kong.
No, I'll say it's not.
It's a montage. Funky Kong with Donkey Kong. It's a montage.
It's the DK rap.
Yeah. They do all the songs from the Donkey Kong Country TV show that was like CG animated.
Oh, that show's scary.
Yeah. Yes. It did not age well.
Oh man, I do want them to bring it back though with this new Donkey Kong design.
Well, up next, we've got another sort of round of 3 here. We're going to each go around and give an individual award to games that we might have somewhat expertise on. David, you're up first. What's your category that you're going to...
Okay, yeah. Mine, again, sorry for some of the repetition here, but my category is Best Low Poly Throwback Game. I feel like pixel art used to be the go-to for indie developers. They would do a lot of pixel art platformers. Those haven't gone away. That's still definitely a thing. But I feel like the new version of that is this kind of low poly, like PS1 aesthetic game. And there were a lot of them this year. So much so that I'm going to like give like the nominees, even though this isn't a Golden Headz Awards. I would say some of the best ones this year were Lunistis, Super Kiwi 64, which is kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie style game, Mysteries Under Lake Ophelia, which was a wonderful fishing sim, and Frogun, I believe is how you would say it. All of these are on the Switch and all worth playing. But I mean, I've been singing its praises all show. Lunistis would be my pick for best low poly throwback. But if you love this aesthetic, like 2022 and onward is like kind of the golden era of this style coming back. So it's very exciting for fans of crunchy pixels and dithering. Matt, what's your category?
It is best VR/PC game. I love VR. Love Valve Index. It is always a cross between Blade and Sorcery, which is an incredible first-person dungeon crawler, shooter, slasher VR game. It's great with mods. Fucking Blade and Sorcery with Mjolnir from Thor, with Captain America's shield, with Xenoblade Monado, with a lightsaber, all in one game. But that's
it's really stretching fair use there.
Yeah, well, it's the pick every year. But outside of that, it would be Moss Book 2. If you have any VR platform, whatever it is, Moss is probably on it. You owe it to yourself to kind of experience Moss, what a platform game could be and be on a VR platform.
Nice.
And plus, it's really fucking cute.
I'm excited for Fantavision to come back with PSVR 2. Hopefully that wins next year.
I'll go next. So my category is best game to play with well, this is a legacy term with Small Child. My kid's getting big, y'all. So this category is evolving, but he's how
big is he? How big are we talking? Is he like 6 foot?
Yeah, he's almost as tall as me. No, not that big.
Can you give it to us in meters?
We can still say smallish child.
Maybe 1 meter.
1 meter.
I don't even know how to convert meters to feet. Yo. It's like 1.6 or something. Like, I don't know. Anyway, best game to play with a kid this year. Honestly, I think it was probably Kirby. I think that was what we had the most fun playing together that came out this year. Not the ideal game to play with somebody else. And if you're the parent, you're going to have to be banana waddle dee and be annoyed. But I've learned to be patient when you do these kind of things and that it's not all about me.
So you've learned that, but you never learned to love banana waddle dee. And by that, I mean bandana waddle dee.
Bandana waddle dee. I may have said it wrong.
Yeah.
But banana.
Yeah. The guy who wears a bandana is named Banana Waddle Dee.
Right? And then it's Bandana Kong.
These crumblings stole all my bandanas.
We talked about it a lot when this game came out, that this 2-player mode was probably tacked on because as the second player, you kind of get popped around and you can't pick up copy abilities. But bandana Waddle Dee is actually pretty fun to control, and you can, play cleanup for your kid, and that's what it's all about. So, yeah. So David, we got another Golden Headz Award.
Yeah. This is from me. Okay, we've our next category for the Golden Headz Awards goes to the best retro collection. I feel like there were a ton of games this year that collected old retro games and packaged them together and put them out. And I wanted to give a shout out to some of those because there were a lot of great ones. The nominees for best retro collection are the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series, Atari 50, Sonic Origins, Pac-Man Museum, and Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. All worth playing, all games that I did play and played on my Switch, actually. I guess my Switch is where I do all this. I'm going to give the award to Atari 50.
Kind of surprised.
Really? What do you think that it would be? Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania?
I don't know I'm just explaining. We haven't talked about this a lot, right? This is a pretty new one.
Atari 50 came out pretty recently, and I got it kind of recently. Atari 50, if you're not familiar, it is a celebration of the 50th anniversary of Atari, and it is one of the most impressive retro game collections I've ever played in my life. It almost is more of a playable documentary or like playable like history book than it is an actual like collection of games. But that being said, there's like 100 games in here. You know what I mean? Or like 75. I don't even know how many, but it's a fuck ton. It's like more than you would think are in this game. And it goes all the way from like old school Atari arcade games from like the 70s through to like the 2600 to like the Jaguar and more, some of the latest Atari stuff, including also Digital Eclipse put out this collection, brand new games that are kind of like mashups of old games, but with like a modern sheen on it. There's like 9 or so brand new games in this package. And it has like a bunch of like video content of like old white guys talking about their time at Atari in the 70s and 80s, and tons of like photos, like really high quality scans and photos of cabinets and all this crazy stuff. It's just like, as far as I'm concerned, it's the de facto collection of old stuff, and with it's more extras almost than games, but it still has a shit ton of games. So if you haven't checked out Atari 50, check it out, even if it's just as kind of like some curiosity in the history of video games. Great stuff.
Nice. Well, we're gonna go back to a multi-round of picks here. Got a few awards. The first one is the best non-2022 game that we played in the year 2022. So this would be individually, what did you play that's older, didn't release this year, that was your favorite gaming experience?
I'll go first. It's Earthbound.
Nice.
We played Earthbound for the part of the JRPG Club. Did not release in 2022, but it was the first time that I played it all the way through. Everyone seemed to say it was really like hard to like get into, but once you got into it for a couple of hours, it's hard to put down. It's just like so cute and fun, and the writing is really, really funny and clever. Just you don't get a lot of games like Earthbound.
I was going to say for my pick for best non-2022 game was Donkey Kong Country Returns, because I finally played that on my Steam Deck with like controls, like actual controls. But I've actually played that game a bunch of times, and that's just kind of me returning to it. So I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to give my pick to Abduction, which is a 2016 Cyan game. Got a Cyan mug right here, by the way, got for Christmas. Yeah, if you like Myst, this is like a spiritual successor, follow-up to Myst. I did not play it in VR because I don't have a VR headset, but it was just as engrossing, I think, as if I had. And if you like these kinds of games, this one you absolutely should not pass up on. It was a fantastic game, and I can't wait for their next game, Firmament, which I think should be coming out in 2023. That would be it for me.
Sort of a random one that I decided on here. I didn't play a ton of games again, but one game that I missed when it came out and that kind of seemed relevant to what I'm doing right now was The Secret of Monkey Island. I played The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition and just really enjoyed the writing and silliness in that game. So there's my pick.
Very good.
Now we've got the best not on Switch game. This might tie in with something you've already heard from me, at least, which is, for me, it's Stray. I'll just lead off with that since we've talked a lot about it. I won't say much more, but Stray, not available on the Nintendo Switch, but find a way to play it. Great game.
Would you recommend, if someone has a Switch and this game came out in a streaming only version for the Switch, that it's worth playing this game streaming only?
I don't know, probably, but I don't have any, like, some people just have some moral stance against that. I don't. And also, what is it going to cost? Because that would be the other part. I don't think, if it's $10-$20 or whatever. How much is Stray? It was like $15.
It's like 30.
Oh, it was that
30
much. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe not if it's $30, but it's shorter too. So I don't know. Like, is streaming games good for shorter games? And that's a whole.
I feel like it would be better for Stray. I feel like it'd be fine for Stray.
Yeah, if you're not paying ridiculous amounts, then maybe.
Yeah. Either way, great. I'll go next on best not on Switch game. I kind of interpreted this as best game that's not on Switch that should be on Switch. And to that, I'm going to say Trombone Champ. Trombone Champ came out a little bit earlier in the year, kind of became a huge meme game, where, it's a PC game where you kind of take your mouse and move it forward and back like it's a trombone. And it's just a really goofy game where you have to hit the notes, but it doesn't like snap to where the notes are. So it's constantly like out of tune or like slightly weird. And it's just a goofy experience. I think this game would fit great on Switch. I played it on Steam Deck, and instead of using a mouse for that, you just kind of tilt the machine forward and back using the gyro, and that would work just fine on the Switch. I think it's kind of crazy that it's not on Switch. I think it would totally blow up. It's definitely worth it. So Trombone Champ gets my best not on Switch game award.
Nice.
There's not a crossover in this category for me for like game of the year. And so following suit with everyone else, also Stray too. Stray's design, accessibility features, little clues to where to climb, where to traverse are just so great. It's a lovely little game.
Yeah, man. It would be such a great Switch game, right? Like, I think this was a great handheld game for me, right? I played it on my Steam Deck. And it just I think it would just fit into the Switch's library really well. Hopefully, if a Switch Pro comes out, we get a port of Stray.
All right. Well, then moving on, we have sort of a gaming moment of the year. And if you need to maybe list a couple, that's fine. But yeah, so we'll let you go around, sort of talk about an experience for this one. Anybody got one they want to share?
I'll go first. I think the biggest thing for me was I abandoned a lot of games this year, and this was probably maybe the same thing I said last year, but this year I just felt it was totally okay to, like, I wasn't feeling this game, or it really wasn't for me anymore. So I abandoned a lot of games. I've been using this app to track how many games I've abandoned, and it's quite a bit. But the biggest culprit here for me was Horizon Forbidden West. Gameplay loop just wasn't feeling it for me, and it's like a $50 or $60 game, and I felt like I owed it to myself if I was going to spend that money that I needed to beat the game. But then I woke up and I was like, nah, no way, dude.
Good for you. I'm glad that you came to that realization.
Yeah.
Is that it? Did you have any others?
Yeah, it's just, the idea of, like, I'm really appreciating games more that respect my time. Or just trying to, like, understand my feelings when I'm playing a game if I don't want to play it anymore. And it's just pushing through it.
See, that's funny. I feel like you and I flip-flopped this year because I'm usually like that, where I start a shit ton of games, and I still do some of that, obviously. But I feel like I beat like 20 or 30 games this year. You know, like it was like I actually like played a lot of games through to completion. You know, I didn't play a ton of super long games, but a big part of that was the Metal Gear Solid streaming series that I did this year. Like actually keeping myself to task, deciding that I'm going to stream all of these games and actually play them through and roll credits on every single one. I think not only motivated me to actually play through that series for the first time, but it also kind of carried over into a lot of the other games I was playing as well this year. And I ended up rolling credits on like tons of games. You know, some of them old retro games that I'd never beaten, some brand new games and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of owe all that to streaming the Metal Gear Solid series. So I'm definitely going to say that and like discovering that franchise and kind of understanding what all the fuss is about, why everybody loves that series so much was definitely the highlight of my gaming year for me.
I got 2 as well. I think for me, playing through Doki Doki Literature Club on stream was a lot of fun with the community being there, and I just had a blast playing that game. I don't know that like
it's fucking wild.
I kind of forgot that you did that this year. That was wild.
Is it the beginning of the year?
Yeah, that was like January or February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that game, I don't know that I love the game, and that I might have given up on it if it had not been like had that support. So it actually allowed me to push through because there's not a whole lot of game to that.
That was
a
stream
lot of
you
just
had
reading
your first,
and mashing A.
You had your first Twitch troll, right?
Yeah, that's right. We had to boot somebody because they kept saying spoilers.
Yeah.
And they kept being like, "What? What's the big deal?"
I had one of those for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. It's like right before anybody would say any line, he'd be like, he's about to say this. And then the line would happen. I was like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. People love to ruin things, I guess.
Yeah,
but that did not ruin it for me. And actually made it a better experience. But anyway, and then the other one I want to mention is just the launch of Splatoon 3. And I think the preview for Splatoon 3, that was a lot of fun. Just, I mean, it's tapered off some, but it still happens. You know, shout out to like Ivy. I play so much Splatoon with Ivy. And other folks too, but Typos and Summer. And I've just really enjoyed the community aspect of that.
Yeah, maybe we could just take this opportunity to gush on the Switch Headz community a little bit. Because, yeah, it was like Splatoon 3 was like a really big moment for our Discord, I think, this year, right? Like, and just in general, I think it was very much reminded me of when Animal Crossing came out, right?
Yeah.
And everybody in the Discord was constantly, you know, well, that was in 2020. So it was like, you know, we weren't all getting out of the house. And so we all had this kind of platform where we could all connect and talk through our Discord. But Splatoon 3 really felt that way too. I felt like we've always kind of had these aspirations of like, oh, we're going to be like a multiplayer Discord and you can do multiplayer games. And that happens sometimes, right? But I think Splatoon 3 really brought that home. I feel like it's like anytime someone's like, hey, let's play, someone's like, yeah, you know, and there's always someone to play with. And that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, as an observer for a lot of those experiences, it was nice to see other people pop on and be like, hey, I want to play this game. Let's start a game, or let's start a game in a couple of days. It's always cool to see other people who organize others.
Yeah, it was great stuff. And then I think we got to shout out the JRPG Club as well, right? That was pretty great, starting a video game book club. I don't know, was that your idea or was that Donnie's idea?
That's Donnie's idea.
Yeah. It's a really great idea, Donnie. And I think it's going to be an ongoing staple of our Discord for the foreseeable future, right? Like, I think it's such a great idea. And for me, as somebody, like I said, who traditionally has issues like actually playing games through, especially JRPGs, because of a really low attention span, this kind of holds me to task. It didn't work for Earthbound. Fuck Earthbound, even though it's great. But like I'm playing through Chained Echoes now. I'm trying to get like a jump start on it, just so that I don't have to crunch. Yeah, I'm learning from my mistakes on Live Alive. You know what I mean? And so it's really great talking through really story-based games like that with the community.
All right, well, we're coming down to the end here. So for our last Golden Headz Award, this is a sort of looking forward to the future question award. And this one we're calling the least likely to release in 2023, also known as Is This Even a Game Award. So Nintendo has a lot of games that notoriously have been delayed or rumored and what have you, and we're going to talk about those. Here's the nominees: Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot, Pikmin 4, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and Metroid Prime 4. And the award goes to Metroid Prime Trilogy, the only game on this list that has not really actually ever been announced or talked about.
But we
Nintendo,
just assume
but everyone
is coming any day now.
Long rumored. All these games have taken a long time and have had some weird development and delays and stuff. But gosh, if Tears of the Kingdom actually doesn't come out in 2023, people will riot.
Yes. Yeah. If it's one day late from where they've said now, people are going to be mad. Yeah. And people are going to be like, it's 11 p.m. Where's my game? I think that for the record, by the way, I mean, I feel like the obvious answer here is Metroid Prime 4 is probably not coming out in 2023. But the reason that we gave it to Metroid Prime Trilogy is that I don't even think that's even a game. I think Metroid Prime 4 might come out in 2023, but I think Metroid Prime Trilogy is never coming out. I think that's a game that we made up in our heads.
Yeah. Well, I think this brings us to the end here, which is going to be our sort of top 3, our game of the year, top 3 each. We're going to give a list. I'm going to go first because mine is not exciting. It's all games I've said before, and you can guess what's number 1, but we'll start backwards at number 3 with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Number 2 would have been Stray. And then, of course, I can't stop fucking playing Splatoon. And so Splatoon 3 is... I grind my son's account now, too.
Wow.
So I don't even know...
You identity thieve your son?
I like... He wants gear, and I'm like happy to try to like...
You're a hired gun.
Yeah, and it's also fun to play.
You're a fucking addict is what you are, Patrick.
Dude, I'll be honest that I actually think this might be the most addictive. Like, it's kind of a problem, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I might play too much.
You should try switching to like opioids.
Yeah, that will fix everything.
Just go,
I'm not a doctor, by the way. Maybe don't do that.
Not a lawyer, not a doctor.
No, I'm a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're lawyers.
We're lawyers.
Not doctors. Yeah.
Well, we've established this.
Yeah, I'll go next for my game of the year. No particular order. The biggest gaming impacts that have made on me in 2022 are Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, wow.
I'm about 25 hours into God of War Ragnarok. That just the sound design, the accessibility features of that game, plus how it respects your time, the dialogue and the voice acting and the story. Just an incredible fucking game. Along with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I love that franchise. Did a whole episode a couple of weeks ago, so make sure you listen to that spoiler heavy episode. And then just so many good games this year, along with Stray, which is just a wonderful short experience too.
Okay, two things, Matt. First of all, I'm going to make you rank those. And second, or at least say your top one. And then second, your favorite Nintendo Switch game of the year, or Nintendo, it was Pokemon Legends Arceus.
That's right. Yeah.
So what is the difference?
It was a way to squeeze in the category. I feel
yeah. What's the difference between game of the year?
You guys made the categories, but I think like the nuance.
I like the use.
The nuance is just the impact of the gaming experience.
Okay, gotcha.
Like if Pokemon Legends Arceus Arceus, it's the best Nintendo game for me of 2022. It's the most game that I put time into from a like raw number standpoint, but from an impact game of the year standpoint, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Okay, so Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If you had to do a number one of Gotti, it would be Xenoblade 3.
It would not. No, I'm not choosing. No,
no, you have to.
No, I don't.
Those are the rules. All right. I don't want to live in a world where Matt's game of the year isn't Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah.
So in my head canon is going to be that's what you said.
Well, I mean, that's
the
fine.
fanfare.
We can like things equally. We don't have to categorize things.
No, listen, man. I was born and raised on listicles. Okay, I only know one thing in this fucked up world.
But did you know you can change those numbered bulleted lists to bullets?
Top 10 with no order.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Pure
I have an
chaos,
order.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have an order, and I actually kind of hemmed and hawed about this a lot because these are all Nintendo games on this list, and I played a lot of stuff that wasn't Nintendo games, but it was kind of hard for me to slot them in to my game of the year list because a lot of them weren't released this year, or I don't know. It was weird. Like, and also I feel like I played so much Lunistis and so much Neon White, but it didn't feel quite right putting them in the Game of the Year list, even though I think they might technically be. So those are definitely runners up. And then also another runner up, I would say, is Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass. There are just so many really, really great tracks in there. But it doesn't feel right to give that a Game of the Year slot as well, obviously, right? Because it's a fucking, 10-year-old game or whatever it is. But I'm gonna give my list here, and these are all ones we've said before as well. I'm gonna say number 3 is Live Alive. Just a fantastic re-release, and it had enough new shit to where I just kind of consider it a new game. Number 2 is gonna be Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Just a beautiful game that's kind of easy to forget because it came out so early in the year, but really was just an impeccable experience. And number 1 for me is also Splatoon 3. I love that game so much. I continue to love it. I can't wait for the Splatfest. It's like I want to grind and actually finish catalogs and shit. You know what I mean? It's like no other game really makes me want to do that. And I love it so much. Splatoon 3 supremacy forever. Let's go.
Very nice. Well, that does it for the 2022 Golden Headz Award show, and I think we're gonna call it there and take another short break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the games we've been playing recently. Jesus, have I played any games other than Splatoon?
Patrick, you gotta buy some fucking games, brother. There's a whole world of incredible.
I don't even need to buy them. I already own them. I just need to play them. 2023 is going to be the year I play some other games.
Yeah. Are we started? Have we started? Are we back from break?
We can be. Whenever y'all want.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Shit, I just openly admitted that I'm addicted to Splatoon 3, and I don't think I've played much. I maybe played a little bit of Mario Kart this past week, and I definitely did. But that's about it. Maybe some other tiny bits of things, like my son forces me to play Among Us every once in a while. But
yeah. Patrick was too concerned about the effects of consumerism on American culture to play any games this week.
Yeah, except for Salmon Run at midnight when I should have been sleeping or whatever.
You were working your fake fish job instead of your real job.
Instead of doing my real one, stressed about not doing work and playing a game.
Very good. What about you, Matt?
God of War Ragnarok. It's so good. Have you all played it or plan on playing it?
I haven't played Ragnarok. I've just recently started playing the first God of War. I'm about 4 hours in to the first God of War, which I'm enjoying. I get why everybody loves it so much. It's really good, even if I'm terrible at it. I'm not good at action games like that.
Does the new one feel a lot like that one?
Yeah, it almost feels like a DLC to the first one.
Well, just like it just extends the story.
Yeah, it feels like nothing has stopped. Same voice actors, same gameplay loop, a little more depth for combat.
You were kind of talking about accessibility and not wasting your time. I don't know that I felt like that game wasted my time, but
yeah, I think the original God of War does it too. So when you're like traversing areas or trying to climb up stuff or trying to find out where to go, they have these like symbols on the rocks or on some of the geometry that kind of tell you, the player, of where the game is wanting you to go. So you're exploring, and sometimes they look like inscription, like ruins. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't. I don't feel like I'm wandering like wasting my time. I'm never feeling lost, and that feels super respectful.
Does that break the immersion for you?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I get the feeling of like feeling lost, that breaks the immersion, and that makes me want to stop play because it makes me feel stupid.
Yeah.
And Kratos is not stupid.
No, he's a god killer, David.
He's strong in muscle and mind.
That's right. And also, it's got a big old dick.
Oh!
I don't know.
Do we get to see it?
What the hell, bro? Do you see dick?
You don't see god dick now.
Come on, cowards.
I know. The game's fucking incredible. Just the voice acting alone of all the screaming and all the grunts and all the noises. It's a great game. I can see why it was Game of the Year for many, many people.
But yeah, I'll go next. Yeah, I've been playing a little bit of God of War as well. I've been juggling a ton of games over this break. I've just been, because there was a big Steam sale. So I definitely bought some games there, and I picked up a couple on Switch as well. With I got an eShop card for Christmas. So that's what I bought Atari 50 with that eShop card. Again, really worth picking that up if you're at all interested in gaming history.
It's only like $40 or something.
Yeah, it's $40 and it's an incredible value. And it's like, not all of these games, some of these games you're just going to start and be like, this is terrible and never play again. Right. But that's just, there's a million games on there for that reason. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's definitely, I was very fucking surprised with how good of a job they did with that game. But yeah, played a little bit of God of War. For a moment, I started Elden Ring and was like, I don't want to play this right now. So I'll play that at some point, but not today. Let's see. What have I been playing? I picked up a Trombone Champ, like I talked about earlier. I played through this game that just came out on itch.io called Truss. It's like about a 15, 20-minute experience, first-person game where you just kind of walk through the woods in the snow, and you kind of keep falling asleep and waking up, and it's kind of like a bit of a kind of meditation on what it means to be creative, and the idea of this game was made by someone, and it is a game about how he made this game. It's like very meta, but it's also kind of like beautiful in its way. And it's like, and the game kind of ends being like, this is my gift to you. And then you like finally fall asleep, and then the game just shuts down. Like I was just like at my
What's
Steam
the name of the game
home screen
again?
Truss, TRUSS. You probably won't find any footage of it or anything. It like just came out. I found it on Twitter. It's kind of a random thing that I picked up, but it was really, really cool. I'm not going to talk about all the games that I grabbed on sale, but Punchwin, I talked about earlier. That game is super fun. It's like a punching penguin. Skull Chains is a really cool game that I've been playing on Steam as well, where you like spin a skull around and like hit people. It's exactly what it sounds like. And then, yeah, a couple other games, but I think the last one I'll give a shout out to is our JRPG Club game for the first quarter of 2022, which is Chained Echoes. And I'm about an hour or two into that game right now, and really enjoying the story and the world and the combat. And I can't wait to talk about that game with other people. So if you're interested in joining our JRPG Club, make sure you hit us up at Discord, and we'd be sure to slot you in. And then one last little shout out for Hanafuda. I showed my sister how to play Hanafuda on Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. And that's a game that is timeless, quite literally. But yeah, that's about it. I've just been jumping from game to game this holiday season while I've been eating a lot of French toast and fucking just engorging myself in holiday treats.
You a powdered sugar guy, or?
Oh yeah, powdered sugar and cinnamon and syrup.
And cinnamon and syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. Super sweet.
Diabetes on a slice of bread. Yeah. That's what I'm all about.
Awesome. That does it for this year's Golden Headz episode. Definitely send us a note if you have any thoughts, or tell us what your game of the year was.
Yeah, give us a list of every single category what you would have picked, and we'll read them all out at the beginning of next episode.
I don't think we'll do that, but we'll do our best to mention you. If you
also, we never gave the award for most improved community member. Did we? While we were on that, are we allowed to say that?
Oh boy. I'm going to go ahead and say thanks to MilkyWay.co for doing our website, and a thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, find me as PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, excuse me, sorry, chewing ice for some reason. If you'd like to follow our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got our website, switchheadz.com, and you can join our Switch Headz Discord. We'll have the link to that in the description of this video. We've been talking about it all episode. It's a great place to come hang out and make new friends and just chill out and play Splatoon and have a great time. So make sure you join our Discord there. That's gonna do it, right? For this episode. What a great year of content, gang. Just want to say this is our last show of the year of our Lord 2022. I don't know about you guys, but I had a great time doing this podcast this year. Did you guys have a good time doing this podcast this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Man, great stuff. I feel so privileged and delighted to be able to do this every year with two beautiful, wonderful guys. If you want to see how beautiful we are, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube version of the show. But I can't wait to do another 52 episodes next year with you guys, and that's going to be a really good time. So I just want to give a special thank you to everybody who's been tuning in from the beginning or maybe just started this year. It's going to be a great one. 2023 is going to be a good year. I can feel it. I think the coronavirus will finally end. Maybe not. Probably not. But that's going to do it. We are back next week. We're going to do a 2023 predictions episode, speaking of the stuff I was just talking about. So make sure you tune into that. That'll be a fun one. That's always a good time. Kind of look a little bit forward and make some guesses. And then next year you can look back and see what we got wrong. But that's going to do it for the episode, guys. We love you very much. You know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. Don't drink too heavily this New Year's Eve. And that's going to do it. We love you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.